I am Siddharth Oruganti. I have about 23 years of experience in this dynamic industry. I'm part of a system integrator and also part of the large organization called L&T Group, which is LTIMindtree. I head the global practice for end-user computing, or popularly known as digital workplace practice. So as a part of my role, I typically take care of multiple things. One of it being global solutions for all our customers, re-engineering, transformation related activities for all my customers, bringing in new offerings or solutions which can enhance my customer satisfaction. And finally, we also take care of our partners who are very core to our existence in this industry. But when you say end user services has multiple components. It has service desk, it has field services, it has your experience management, it has endpoint management, it has patch management, it has vulnerability management, it has VDI management, it has collaboration and messaging. So there are multitude. So there are multiple players in the market. For example, Microsoft does collaboration, ServiceNow does ITSM, ManageEngine does ITSM, right? So how do you bring the solution to the customer in a simplistic way? Looking at the customer's environment, looking at the customer's user base, looking at the customer's investments, looking at the customer's journey strategy, right? There has to be somebody who brings all this together for them in a meaningful way. In the process, connecting the ecosystem with partners, right? That is what a system integrator does. My association manager has been pretty old. If I'm not wrong, over the last 8 years, maybe even earlier. And this was through my earlier organizations, right? And that's where, and I was in the end user space from a very long time. That's where my interest came in, to see that you have such a wide diversity of products which do target some of the areas which are pain points for end users. That's where the interest did start kicking in, and that's where I started interacting, learning a little about the products, talking to the customers, implementing it in the customers, and also speaking to customers to see what can be improved and what values they are deriving. So my association has been a pretty long association with ManageEngine. One of the most important challenges is, how do you be ahead of a system failure rather than being behind it, right? How do you get more proactive? How are you able to, manage the piece between a failure and getting the systems up? How do you manage that window? So these are the 3-4 challenges. Why I'm saying these are critical is because we talk a lot about customer satisfaction, we talk about experience level management, but if you are able to control these things, right, being in front of the issue rather than being behind the issue, we are automatically taking care of the customer satisfaction and enhancing the experience for our customers. How do you enhance the speed of resolution? How do you reduce downtime? How do you take care of customer perception when it comes to IT? So these are the 3 other big challenges. The last but not the least, how does IT directly involve in business decisions? When you're rolling out an app, when you're rolling out a business-wide rollout, does the IT get involved rather than IT just gets pulled in at the last minute, right? How does the IT form a part of that strategy is something which is one of the challenges which is getting highlighted of late. So there are many products, dime a dozen, but let me talk a little bit about ManageEngine and how they actually have helped us in many of these areas, right? The Endpoint Central, which is a fantastic product, right? Why I like this product personally is it takes care of at least 80% of what all I spoke as challenges. Starting from the point of failure, how do you measure the point of failure when it comes to endpoints, right? Endpoints, we only think that the endpoint becomes slow, but we're not trying to diagnose the root cause of why the endpoint is slow. Endpoint has multiple points within the endpoint. You have a network point of entry, you have a OS point of entry, you have an application point of entry, you have a version point of entry, you have a hardware point of entry. So which point of entry is causing a failure, which is making the system not behave the way it is designed to behave? And that's where Endpoint Central and its fabulous analytics suite can really bring immense value. And that is where when we are able to diagnose that point of failure and give a proactive solution, you're automatically elevating your experience for the end user. And also when it comes to business, you're able to integrate the right applications, you're able to integrate the right type of softwares within the endpoint, so that tomorrow, once the application is rolled out, you do not have a point of failure. So you are doing everything at a forward end rather than a backward end. To be very honest, when it comes to Endpoint Central, I have seen, through the analytics, I have seen downtimes going down by I'm purposely using word as little as 25% at the lowest grid to as high as 40%. That's the impact we have seen. So the whole important part of the proposition of Endpoint Central with you is that there are two things. One, I'm going to call it very cliched, right? You guys are very high on value when it comes to licensing. That's why I use the word cliched there. But the other important thing is that you're focusing purely on the endpoint, how you deploy the endpoint, how do you manage the endpoint. And that is where your sweet spot is. But having said that, I know I'm going to take one step ahead. You have achieved the difficult part. Now you need to get into a stage wherein you tie up the same thing and bring in something which measures the, as we said, right, the DEX. We use the word DEX, digital experience score, right? That you need to bring in that flavor to make it complete. It's not going to be a difficult task because you already reached, I think, 80% of where you had to reach. So that is the suggestion, and that is the beauty of the product, which is scalable. What is also the beauty is that your Endpoint Central connects with the platitude of all your other products, right? And that which is not there in many of the other competing products, where you need to integrate separately. So that's an area which again gives value. So bring one thing, achieve lot is the flavor which you are carrying. By bringing in this one more additional feature, I think you are there to compete with the value which you are providing. The platform or a product has to be super non-intrusive. And that's the beauty of ManageEngine. It is automatically non-intrusive. Ease of deployment, ease of management, and immediate value. These are the three mantras of ManageEngine, and this is what all my customers do echo. So when it comes to the ManageEngine event, I like to, apart from all the organization and the food and the activities and so on and so forth, two things of which I love. One is your focus on technical deep dives on each of the products. That is a brilliant part. The second one is you're automatically incentivizing people to take a certification so that they are, they at an emotional level are connected with the product. So these are the two big takeaways which I see from each of your conferences, and it takes a lot of effort, and I should thank you for it.